So, a few weeks ago we spoke about Philadelphia Flyers' second overall pick at the 2017 NHL entry draft, Nolan Patrick, and the rumors spewing about as to whether or not Patrick would actually want a change of scenery. Now, you can go ahead and watch that video if you want the entire scoop, but long story short, Nolan Patrick was supposed to be a first overall caliber guy in 2017. He went second overall because he was kind of held back with injuries that year, plus there was this really good Swiss kid out of the Halifax Mooseheads that was kind of taken the entire drafting world by storm as well. That guy, Nico Hischier, went first overall to the Devils. Nolan Patrick went second overall. And the injury problems that he sustained as a junior player before even making his way to the NHL really did not slow down as his career went forward. Sure, he played full seasons in his first and second year in the NHL, but 2019-20 was really bad because he was sidelined for the entire season with migraine issues. Nowadays, though, you take a look at where Nolan Patrick is. He produced 9 points in 52 games played in the most recent season of play, which for a second overall pick 4 years removed isn't really the track record that you would want to see out of this kind of guy. And plus, with all the stuff going on about the progression and how he's gone through his NHL career, there's speculation as to whether or not Nolan Patrick would actually just want out, want to change his scenery, and want to continue his NHL career elsewhere. Now, enter Jim Matheson on this recent article published on the Edmonton Journal. Oilers notes, should the Edmonton Oilers be looking at Nolan Patrick? I will leave a link in the description to this piece so you can go ahead and read this for yourself. But today we're talking about Nolan Patrick and whether or not a trade to the Edmonton Oilers makes sense. Now, when I think about the idea, just the basic bare bones idea, when I saw this article pop up on my timeline, the immediate instinct in my mind was, oh boy, 2017 me would have laughed out so loud seeing this. Just imagining if this actually came true and Nolan Patrick was traded to Edmonton, the me from 2017, from 10th grade, from 11th grade or whatever it was, 11th grade, would have been just dying on the floor laughing because at this point, we would have had ourselves the Edmonton Oilers, who in 2010 drafted first overall. In 2011, they drafted first overall. In 2012, they drafted first overall. In 2014, they drafted third overall. In 2015, they drafted first overall. In 2016, they drafted fourth overall. But in 2016, when they drafted fourth, they took the guy that many people thought would have been a second, third overall guy in Jesse Puljujärvi. So a lot of people, I remember back in 2016, were kind of memeing around, oh, even though the Oilers didn't win the draft lottery, they still won the draft because they got Puljujärvi at fourth. What a steal. And then you tell me that in 2017, not only would they have gotten Kailer Yamamoto, who was really good at 22nd overall, but they would have taken Patrick. They would have had the ability to acquire Patrick, a guy who many people believed would have been the first overall pick in 2017. That is Patrick, McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Yakupov, Hall, and of course, all the other guys, too, like Draisaitl and whatnot that are in here as well, all going to Edmonton. That is absolutely crazy how gifted that franchise is when it comes to names just being handed to them on a silver platter. That's what me from 2017 would have thought if you said, oh, Nolan Patrick to the Oilers? Whoop-de-doo, maybe. But, obviously, it's a lot different than that, because Nolan Patrick today is definitely not the Nolan Patrick that back in 2016-17 we believed Nolan Patrick would have become in 2021. Nolan Patrick today is a watered-down, not as effective version of himself who doesn't score any points and who has really had a difficult time pretty much breaking into the league as a full-time top six, at least, center like we thought he would be when he was drafted in 2017. Which is why this article here on the Edmonton Journal suggests that a trade for Patrick would make sense. Why? Because every center the Oilers have is a lefty. McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins if re-signed, Kara, McLeod, and Devon Shore. For face-offs alone, they need a right-handed shot in their bottom six. And I get it. Upon reading that little headline there, I was like, are you kidding me? The only reason you're thinking about Nolan Patrick is because of face-offs? Are you kidding me? That's what Nolan Patrick has gone down to? He's just now a potential bottom six right-handed face-off guy? That's what you think of him nowadays? But the article does expand a little bit more, talking about the actual face-off scenario itself, and he does say that there are right-handed UFAs that would be available, like Getzlaf and Bozak and Derek Ryan and all that, but he also suggests here that maybe if you're Ken Holland, you go another route. Maybe you make a call to Philadelphia to see about a trade for Nolan Patrick, the second overall pick in 2017 ahead of Heiskanen, Makar, and Pettersson. Is he worth the gamble, or do they need a sure thing like Bozak if the free agent price makes sense? Patrick has gotten big-time skill, but he has been a bit player in Philly, partly because of the migraine problems which knocked him out for an entire season, yada yada yada, also because he was rushed into the NHL as an 18-year-old. That is also true. Maybe because he has to look in the mirror and forget he was the second player chosen in his draft year, and the conclusion pretty much is, oh, maybe if you go out there, give him a change of scenery, he can actually become better. Nolan Patrick is not a top 6 center, but he might develop into a right-handed third-shot center. In his 3 seasons, he's been 50.6, 51.2, and 52.6% in the faceoff circle, so that is a plus. There also is the idea of red flags, which Matheson here very clearly notes in the article, but if this works out, you make a trade for Patrick, you get him onto your squad, and you say, okay, you need a contract, you made $870,000 last year, you're 22 years old, yes, but you got 9 points. We can't give you a boatload of money, but what we can do is give you a chance. And if everything works out for Nolan Patrick, he gets things back together, he learns how to produce points again, he goes back to that status that he held back when he was putting up 100 points in the WHL as an underager, a really big throwback to when he was an extraordinary talent with the Wheat Kings all those years ago. Because if you give him that chance and it works out, hey, you could be looking like a genius. Although, the likelihood of it actually panning out, in my opinion, is really difficult to gauge. Because, let's face it, what are the odds that Nolan Patrick, of all people, goes to Edmonton, of all places, and thrives in that system? The article is saying it right front and center. Okay, if we get Nolan Patrick, he is a bottom 6 guy that we're using for right-handed face-off duty. He's not going to overtake any of the guys we already have. Nugent Hopkins if he comes back, Connor McDavid of course, Draisaitl of course, Kara, and maybe even Ryan McLeod because we want to give him all the opportunities in the world. Where exactly is the room for Nolan Patrick to blossom and become the best version of himself if he goes to Edmonton? If you're trading for this guy thinking you're just going to get a cheap bottom 6 right-handed center, then I honestly think you're kind of misjudging the profile that Nolan Patrick has. Because when it comes to guys like him, who are so pushed back, I guess, or slow in their development towards becoming full-time Impact National Hockey League players from a young age, I think you have to think about these kinds of players really delicately. You can't just say, okay, let's just get him onto our team and have him as a face-off guy in the third line. Because I think that's somewhat irresponsible to the player that you have himself. He's only 22. There is a chance that by the time he's 24, 25, 26 maybe, that he's a lot better than he is today. The migraine issues slowed him down for a long time, yes. The injuries back in his draft year really held him back as well. It's probably why he didn't go first overall. But now you have an opportunity for him, after he has been fully healthy, to really say, okay, maybe there's a chance that we try to work out what was in your profile all those years ago. And I know Flyers fans, they're not really all too optimistic on that front. Believe me, I read the comment section of the previous Patrick video we made. A lot of them are just saying, okay, if he wants a trade, bye-bye. And I think if that's the feeling that you're getting from Flyers fans, you can kind of tell where exactly he lies within their appreciation compass, I guess you could say. But who knows? Maybe it's another team that needs to give him a new environment, a change of scenery, all that cliche stuff that we know so much from previous years. But there's a reason these cliches exist, because sometimes they really do work, and sometimes it's all a young player needs to really get his head back on straight and start playing the game that he feels he is able to play. So for the Oilers and Nolan Patrick, I'm not going to pretend like the price would be astronomically high. It probably wouldn't be. This guy wants out. He's an RFA, so there really isn't all too much value here in this kind of player, especially with the production and the body of work he has had. But the Flyers definitely would not want to lose him for nothing, especially considering the fact that he was their second gosh darn overall pick 4 years ago. So talk to me in the comments what you think about this entire idea over here. I'm not even going to try to lay out a trade proposal scenario. The article, I think, goes over a few things, but I don't want to talk about that here. I just wanted to talk about the vague idea itself of Patrick going to Edmonton, especially with this idea in mind. So talk to me in the comments what you think. A face-off guy in the bottom 6 who's right-handed, yay or nay? If you acquire Patrick, do you want to use him more in a better role than that? Or do you think this is kind of appropriate for the player he is today? Talk to me in the comments what you think. Hope you enjoyed this. This was Josh Rolls 99. And bye.